hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. Ours looked a little different this year. I accepted the fact that our kids are older and outgrew some of our traditions. I accepted the fact that the girls are busy with school, with their friends, with extracurriculars, with work. I can't believe they're old enough to work. And I didn't force things. And you know what? We still had a great holiday season. There were moments where I did get a little sad that I don't have littles anymore, but I'm trying to embrace them, getting older and making adjustments where I need to. And the adjustments weren't just about changing what we did, it was about changing and shifting my mindset. By letting go of the way I thought things should look or have looked in the past, I opened the door to new traditions and a lot of unexpected moments, like watching the kids help each other ice skating under the Rockefeller Christmas tree and doing Christmas karaoke on Christmas Eve. I even got my mom to sing with us, which was pretty awesome. But this holiday really reminded me that embracing change is what keeps us moving forward. And if I had held on too tightly to the way things used to be, we might have missed out on creating some truly amazing new memories. So embracing change is a big part of what I'm doing next year, or should I say this year? And as I step into this year, that's the mindset I'm carrying with me, letting go of those rigid expectations and reflecting on what matters, adjusting where needed, and trying to really welcome and embrace the new. And that is what we're focusing on in the podcast this week. We started out the week with a quote I am putting in my planner. The quote is, "Don't feel failure. Fear being in the exact same place this time next year," because I am not letting my fears hold me back any longer. And I'm hoping to inspire you to do the same. And the rest of this week, we'll have topics that will help kick off the new year with all the tools you need to make some serious headway this year. And today, we are focusing on the reflecting piece, reflecting on the past year, what went well, what didn't, and what lessons we can learn from it. But before we jump in, I wanted to share my new freebie I have for you. It's my goal manifesting planner. It's the exact worksheets that I am using for each of my big goals this year. It will really help you be intentional while planning your goals. It'll help you understand your why, your motivation, what obstacles you need to overcome, what resources you need, and the steps you need to get there. So no more excuses. It's time to do the work so you can make great things happen this year. So scroll down to the show notes and get your free goal manifesting planner today.
Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work and time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life.
I love the week between Christmas and New Year's. One, because I don't have to work, I don't have to make cool lunches. Everyone just kind of lies about. And I really spend this week reflecting on the year, taking the time to see what worked for me, what didn't work, where I could do better, where I might have wasted my time, where I should spend more time, and more importantly, what I learned about myself. Because if we're not learning, we're not growing. So today, I'm sharing the 5 questions I asked myself to do just that. So grab your pen and paper and write them down. And I strongly encourage you to do this process at some point this week in order to set yourself up for success this year. The first question I asked myself is, what am I most proud of accomplishing this year? I have a bunch of blank pages in the back of my planner that I didn't use this previous year. So I used this space to just start writing. And I actually started writing this list while we were sitting around just watching TV. I picked up my planner and just started writing. And as things came to me, I wrote them down. I actually took it a step further and I broke them down into buckets. I did one for personal, one for work, and one for my side business. Personal pretty much covered everything outside of work, the kids, the marriage, health, self-care. But celebrating your wins, big or small, really helps build your confidence and remind you of your growth. Because I'm sure if I just asked you, what'd you accomplish this year? You'd maybe come up with 2 or 3 things. But when you're really intentional about it, you'd be really surprised how many things you write down. This question helps you focus on the positive and recognizes how far you've come, even in the busy, even in the overwhelming seasons. And it's so easy to focus on all the things you didn't do. But when I started to write, I was surprised at all the things that came up to me. And if you don't want to write them down on paper, then open up a notes app on your phone, whatever works for you. But I'm finding it pretty gratifying writing them down. And even as I'm recording this, I took a pause to write down the fact that I got up at 4:30 every weekday to work on my side passion. It's something that is just a habit at this point and not something I even think about, but that's a pretty amazing accomplishment for me, especially when I wasn't always a morning person. So I'm sure there are plenty of things that you can put on your list too. And just a tip, if you have a hard time coming up with things, go through your camera roll. Look at all the different things you did this year. Look at your calendar. Look at all the different events you attended this year, which that just reminded me of another thing I want to add to my list. So you'd be surprised. Just open your heart, open your planner, open your phone, and get to writing. The second question I ask myself is, what challenges did I face and how did I grow from them? If I've learned anything in my adult life, it's that challenges are often our greatest teachers. When you take the time to really identify your challenges and reflect on what you overcame, you can really see how those circumstances changed you and how much you grew from them. Doing this has really helped me reframe obstacles as opportunities for learning and has really made me more resilient. That doesn't mean that I don't get upset in the moment when bad things happen or things don't go as planned, but I don't wallow in it. I don't waste too much energy on it. I allow myself to feel whatever natural emotion the situation brings up, and then I push through it and I try to identify the lesson behind it. It's really become a healthy habit of mine that I've adopted and one that I'm really trying hard to pass on to the kids. I was also trying not to focus on work while I was doing this whole reflecting process because I try to separate my corporate job from my personal but my day job is such a large part of my life, and when I looked at my goals for the year and saw that I didn't accomplish some of them, I realized that the biggest challenge I had this year and what I felt was my biggest roadblock was my day job. And although work was ridiculously challenging for me this year, when I took the time to ask myself question number one, the thing I am most proud of at work that outweighs all the other things was that I was able to promote or help 15 people advance in their careers. And that's pretty amazing when you think about it. So, although I didn't get to where I wanted to be, I still learned and grew from it. My faith in God and His timing is really what grew the most. I realized that I was an integral part of these 15 people's journeys. And had I changed jobs sooner or took a different path altogether, those 15 people might not be where they are today. So while I am not where I wanted to be, I'm exactly where I should be. I know there are many lessons that will come out of the challenges I had this past year, and I really do look forward to discovering what those are, and I really encourage you to do the same. The third question I ask myself is, where did I spend most of my time and energy, and was it aligned to my values? Time is really your most valuable resource, especially as a busy working mom, and this really is the core or the root of what I teach in my coaching sessions, and spoiler alert, it's also a module in the course that I will be launching this year because it's that important. This question helps you evaluate whether your efforts are aligned to what really matters to you, your family, your career, your self care, and pinpoint areas where you need to adjust this year. When you take the time to identify what your values are and you plan your week to align with those values, I promise you, your life will feel more balanced, you'll be happier, and things will just start falling into place for you. When I look back at my year, this is a little tough for me because I did spend a lot more energy at work than I would have liked. And I'm not just talking about the hours I clocked, I spent a lot of mental energy outside of my working hours thinking about work. And that is a boundary that I seriously need to work on this year. And taking the time to answer this question will also help you identify all the things or even the people that you have said yes to this year that you really should have said no to. I want you to put an asterisk around the people or the things that don't align to your values that you spent time and energy on this year because you're going to be having an episode in a couple of weeks that I will make a reference to what you wrote here. So keep it handy. The fourth question I ask myself is, what is one thing I wish I had done differently and what can I learn from it? So this is a really tough question for me because I really believe that everything happens for a reason. So I use this question to not dwell on the negative, the should have, the would have, the could haves, but instead I use it to identify what I will do differently if something similar comes up. So that way I could be more intentional in my decision making going forward, not really looking in the past. So for this one, my regret this year was not taking a day off to go into the city with my family when they were here visiting from Ireland. I usually always take off and I never miss out on an experience. And I don't remember the exact circumstances that were happening at work, but I chose work over going with them. They went to see Summit One. The kids had a blast. The pictures were awesome. So, yeah, that's my regret. I did other things with them while they were here, so I didn't totally miss out on being with them. but that one day is what sticks out in my mind. So, what will I learn from it? Follow my heart. I could have missed that day of work and life would have went on, and I don't think going to the city with them would have changed where I am today either. I would just have that fun memory to add to my collection. So this year, if I'm faced with a similar situation, I will be taking the day off. Oh, and my other regret, meanwhile, I said I had no regrets, but my other regret is not taking more pictures of myself in Greece. And I know this is a petty one, but I spent so much time focusing on getting great pictures of the kids that I didn't take many of myself. And it was my bucket list trip too. And I have such few pictures of myself to show for it. And the ones that I do have myself, my kids are in, so I can't even post them or share them with anyone because we have an agreement that I won't post pictures of my kids that they don't approve. And I actually find that I'm not in most pictures or family videos. I'm always the one behind the camera. So that is one of my goals this year is to get more in front of the camera. So stay tuned for that one. The last question I ask myself is what am I most grateful for from this year? If you've listened to enough of these episodes, you know that I am all about gratitude. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. And so, focusing on what you're thankful for helps you recognize the good in your life, even during tough times. This perspective will motivate and inspire you. I practice gratitude every day. So, this list is literally endless for me, but I am most grateful for my health and my family's health. I know too many people right now struggling with their health, and I made it a point to ensure that I got everything checked out for me this year. For Russ, the kids, my mom, if there was a checkup, we got it done because preventive maintenance is key. I am also very grateful for my mindset, that it's a positive one, that I have the ability to focus on the good. And when I find myself falling into a negative mind space, I am grateful that I have Russ by my side to pull me back out of it. And I'm also grateful for you. If you didn't show up week after week, I wouldn't have the show. I wouldn't be on this path. I wouldn't be pursuing my passion, my reason for getting up at 4:30 every morning. So, a very sincere thank you for not only showing up for me, but more importantly, for showing up for yourself. And make sure you add that to your accomplishments for this year. If this is the first episode you're listening to of the show, hopefully it won't be your last. And hopefully, if you like it, that you'll share it with a friend too. But showing up for yourself is a huge accomplishment and it should be celebrated. So add it to your accomplishment. So these are the 5 questions I've spent the past few days reflecting on. And I really encourage you to take the time, get out your journals, answer these questions, because writing down these answers really allows you to process your thoughts more deeply. And you'll have a record to look back on as you move through the year. I would love to hear what your biggest lesson is from this past year. Head on over to our Facebook community, Work Life Balance for Working Moms, and share your story with moms just like you. Who knows, your lesson could be a game changer for another mama. If you don't already follow the show, take a second and hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.